Hi, my name is Tony.
And I'm Kayla, and this is our story.
I guess it would start for me growing up. My parents fostered. They had 5 kids under the age of 6 at one point, and they still took it upon themselves to foster. So we had extra kiddos living in our home when I was young, and I never thought it was weird or anything like that. Just kind of thought it was the natural cycle of life.
I'm not sure really where my desire for it came from. Our family wasn't really involved in foster care or adoption in any way, but I think it was just something God laid on my heart. I always thought it would be cool to adopt and that I would like to do that someday. So we were married for a couple of years, and then in 2018 we found out we were expecting our first baby. We were absolutely thrilled, but that quickly faded. I had a very difficult pregnancy. I was in and out of the hospital quite a bit, basically on bed rest the whole time. But thankfully in March of 2019, our beautiful little girl was born. She was completely healthy, happy, there were no issues. And then we decided we kind of wanted to stick with our plan we had come up with. So about a year and a half later, we found out we were expecting again. And I once again became very sick. But we just kept telling ourselves, like with our daughter, we would just have to make it to the end and things would be great. This little baby would be just as healthy and perfect, but that ended up not being the case. In October of 2021, we went in for an anatomy scan about halfway through the pregnancy, and we found out that our baby didn't have a heartbeat. Sorry. And it was about a day after that I gave birth to our son. And a few days after that, we had to have a funeral and bury him.
The Sunday after we lost Bowden, we walked into church and we sang "God is so good." And it was very difficult to sing. We were sitting there in tears, singing, knowing it's true. Hard to sing. And I think it was at that moment that I said, all right, God, our future isn't what we thought it was going to be. Maybe we can try alternative methods of growing the family. Maybe we should look into adoption.
For me, I think it was a little bit longer than that. I struggled for quite a while after we lost our son. But then after a month or two, I remember just thinking like, well, where do we go from here? So I just kept praying and crying out to God, saying, all right, our plan is clearly not working out, but God, please show us your plan. And then I just could not, at that point, get adoption out of my head. So I think it was probably at least a few months after we lost our son that we actually sat down and talked about it, and started looking into our options. So then after we started the adoption process, I don't think anything can really prepare you for that, everything that it entails. We ended up waiting almost 2 years before we heard anything. During those 2 years, we had so many no's, a lot of maybes that we thought were going to work out, but then those turned into no's as well. But then on February 10th, we got an email from our adoption agency that was February 10th of this year, from our agency about a pregnant mom who was due the next week. So it all was kind of coming together really quickly. And they wanted to know if we would be interested. And we were really unsure. There were a lot of unknowns with this baby, what her health would be like. So we almost said no. But after praying about it the next morning, we just really felt like we needed to say yes.
And we had gone down this before. There were multiple other situations and kiddos that needed adoption that we prayed about tried not to get super excited about it, ended up getting super excited about it, and then, just being crushed or devastated when it didn't happen.
Yeah, so then that was a Friday. Saturday we said yes, and then Monday morning we were actually driving home from running some errands as a family, and I got a call from the social worker. I always laugh. Tony stopped our car a block away from our house when my phone started ringing, which I don't know why, that just made me laugh. We were so close to home and he just felt the need to pull over.
Yeah, pull over, set the four ways. All right, we need to take this phone call.
Yes.
Let's go.
So I answered, and our social worker told us that we had been chosen to adopt this baby girl. As soon as we found out, we all started crying and doing a happy dance in our car, just parked on the side of the road. Our daughter, who was 3 at the time, was just kind of staring at us like we were crazy. But we were so excited, immediately started rushing around trying to get everything together that we needed to have for this little baby. And then we made our way to where the mom was going to give birth.
We showed up to the hospital way earlier than we were supposed to and just waited in the lobby.
Yes.
And then when she was like, you guys can come to the hospital, we were like, perfect, we're here.
And then about an hour later, one of the nurses came in our room and looked at us and just said, "Are you guys ready to be parents?" And we were just kind of like, what? Like, what is going on here? So she had us run down to the room. I don't know if you want to take over this part or not.
Yeah, we were actually there for the labor. She wanted us in the room for delivery. And it was just something I don't even know what to say. It was something you never expect to happen, and it was just full of really cool moments, from the moment the child was born to I made Kayla cut the umbilical cord, because I'm like, I've already done it. You're never going to be able to do it in your life, so you get to do it. The doctor thought it was really weird that I made her do it.
It was just full of things that you wouldn't typically think of. The birth mom held her for a while, and then I remember very clearly she looked at me and she was like, "Do you want to hold your baby?" And that was just a very emotional moment for me, because I think it was just like the gravity of the situation hit me at that point. The gift that this mom was giving us, and just that I get to be this little girl's mom now. Our oldest daughter immediately loved her baby sister, is still quite obsessed with her, wants to tell everyone, even strangers, all about her, calls her my baby.
My baby.
She's very possessive. But then we had her for 6 months, and on September 5th, we were able to finalize her adoption. It was an amazing, beautiful, crazy day, but it was such a perfect picture of God's goodness and His sovereignty, and how He had such a perfect plan for our family this whole time.
It was a beautiful reminder of us and our salvation. When we put our faith and trust in Jesus Christ, and He places us into God's family. Just what a picture that is, from when our daughter Halen was not ours to ours, and we've just loved her as our own, accepted her. We've been there since the day she was born. Like, she knows no other parents, and we're just blessed to have an adoption like that, but we're also beyond blessed to have a God like that, who just scoops us up and acts like we've been in His family the entire time.